Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up and Make Up with Grace Givens. And this is going to be episode 12. Now, it's been a really long time. I have not seen you since I had my surgeries. Not one, but two I had to have, and that was very, very, very tough. So I have not been able really to make a video for you. And when I have, I've either cut off my face because I'm so lousy at this business, or I have, I'm readjusting here, or I have just made it too long, and YouTube won't accept something as long as I've done. So I'm trying to do one. I might be doing it in several segments because I have so much to tell you. There's a lot, okay? I have to tell you that I had my surgery on November the 10th with that wonderful angel that I met at Baylor College of Medicine, and he turned out to be a wonderful angel. I did not require the grafts that the other hospital was insisting that I was going to have, and I was home in 3 days. Now, I did have to go back. I had a little infection, but it wasn't the infection that he warned me about that he thought was going to be so bad. It was another infection. By the way, I'm putting on this is an old Elizabeth Arden thing that I got with a gift a long time ago, and it has some colors that are kind of nice. I like, I love this purple stuff. So these are the colors, and I'm wearing a coral kind of a color today in white, so I'm trying to work around that. And I'm using some purple in here, and I'll mix it up with some pinks. Anyway, he was fantastic, and I was in surgery for 7 hours. It was horrendously uncomfortable afterwards, but not what you'd expect or why you'd expect. It wasn't from the incision where they closed me up at all. It wasn't in my stomach where they punched me maybe 6 or 7 times with holes. By the way, I don't know if you're going to accept this graciously, but I am now holier than thou. As a matter of fact, I'm probably holier than most people in this world. My hair's still a little wet. You all forgive me for that. Anyway, so I had a very, very, very hard time recovering because of the headache that I got that nobody could quite understand what caused. But I think it must have been the anesthesia. It must have been an anesthesia I'd never had. But I suffered for 5 weeks from that headache. I mean, I was really most of the time in the fetal position, holding my head, crying my eyes out because of this horrible headache. Nothing seemed to help it. And they thought, oh, it was a migraine and that I was going off coffee. Not true. Not addicted to coffee. That had nothing to do with it. But eventually it did go away. And my wonderful, wonderful BFF, Donna, that you have, I'm sure, heard me talk about, she came in and stayed with me so much. And at one point in the hospital, she actually just crawled in the bed with me, spread herself out next to me, and massaged me and my head. It felt like hours, and it was so wonderful. I mean, that's a friend. Friends, that's a friend. Anyway, nevertheless, I was told before that I was going to have a muscle removed from my leg because it was going to be grafted into the areas that were radiated that needed to be fixed. Well, there was a plastic surgeon on board, and there was a gynecological oncologist in there as well. But in the end, as my wonderful radiologist at MD Anderson had predicted, they found that my skin was really good after the radiation, even after the brachy, and they didn't have to do any grafts at all. Now, I have a feeling that had I stayed with that doctor that was recommended to me at MD Anderson, I would have had all those grafts. And I just heard about, and I of course wouldn't have had the robot helping me out. He would have cut me from stem to stern. I just heard about a story from a nurse practitioner who sat in on, who helped and assisted with a surgery exactly like mine, except she did have to have all the grafts. She had a robot, and she had to have all those skin grafts done and lost that muscle. She was, friends, she was in surgery for 18 hours. Now, I'm a 74-year-old woman. I'm not sure I could, even though I'm very strong, I'm not sure I could have made it through an 18-hour surgery and the recovery afterwards. This woman, I understand, is in her 30s. She has a bad situation. But I couldn't have done that. Oh gosh, I just made a big mess here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you how you fix this, okay? I've got Q-tips right here. And I'm going to lick one. That's against the rules, but I'm doing it. And I'm going to pull this over like this, okay? Do you see what I'm doing? And it's going to just kind of smooth into my lower lid there, my lower thing. And I'm going to use this Q-tip up here. And I'm going to try to connect these just a little bit down here, so it all looks like it was supposed to be, okay? And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Lick, lick. Anyway, I'm so grateful to that doctor. And I don't know if I told you this, but the other doctor that I had who freaked me out so badly, I just could not have ever let him work on me. I lost all my confidence in him. And I think rightly so. I don't think I was jumping the gun. As a matter of fact, a Google search showed some real problems that he'd had in the past by being, shall we say, negligent during surgery on another patient. And everybody makes mistakes, and I know they do, and you got to forgive that and go on with it. But the fact of the matter is, this doctor had already made so many mistakes with me that I think I made a really good decision going to the new doctor, and I think it was a miracle that I found him, that he was sent to me. And just like any other angel, which I consider him to be, he did what he had to do for me, and then he left, and I cried my little eyes out. Yeah, he left. He went to California to start a new cancer hospital in L.A. Not fair. Not fair. But I'm still in touch with him. He's just a wonderful doctor, and I love him very dearly. I think he's saved my life, you know what I mean? And then, let me see how many minutes I've gone through. I've got a couple more minutes left on this. And then, of course, I had to decide whether I was going to have radiation or surgery on my chest. I had a malignant lymph node there, and it had gone between my lungs, not touching a lung, but it was in a precarious position between an air passage and a blood vessel. And so I was advised that being that having the radiation, it would be kind of tricky for radiation to miss one of those things, and that would be a total disaster. So I decided that I would not have the radiation. I'd save radiation for another time, since I seem to have a penchant for developing these metastases, although they defy the word, actually, metastases, the definition, because metastases means, gosh, I can't say it, means spread. And so far, thank God, mine doesn't spread. It just appears in odd places, and they're able to take care of it so far. So I'm hoping, and my doctor is hoping, that will continue. If I have to have anything, it will be the same way, small and contained, and we can lift it out with a robot's fingers. They're very skinny little tendril fingers. And if that can be done, then I'm fine. So I decided against, excuse me, I'm looking in the drawer. I decided against the radiation for that and for surgery, because my scan showed that I had absolutely nothing in my body except that one lymph node right in the center, but leaning more towards my right lung. Okay, what I'm doing right now is I'm using some powder on a Q-tip with this. I've shown you this before. I don't know the name of it. I'm going to try to replace it. I have to go to a dermatologist's office to get it. But it's great stuff. And I put that with a Q-tip under here, and then I powder it with a Maybelline powder. It's not a fancy powder. I powder it so that during the day it won't creep down onto my cheekbones. Okay, friends, this is enough for now. I hope that you will subscribe to my channel and we will hear more. I'm going to right now start another episode as soon as this is over. It's Wake Up and Make Up with Grace Givens. Share me. Tell everybody about it. I've got information you need to know. Grace Givens, Wake Up and Make Up with Grace Givens. I'll see you in a few.